Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to go off the map here for just a moment and quickly share with you a game that I literally played 5 minutes ago as black. And I played the Karo Khan. Now this is outside the main Karo Khan speedrun series I'm currently working on. My opponent was rated 2000 and white never castled. I do have a whole lesson on how to attack an uncastled king that I'll put out on the main beginner to master series at some point down the line, but I thought this would be a good model example game for you guys to take a look at. And it was a quick game. It was only 22 moves. I was quite pleased. It was a 94% accuracy game. We only had one inaccuracy, but I want you guys to treat this as a training exercise for you, as a drill for you. I want you to play this game alongside me. So literally all 22 moves, I want you to pause the video and see what you would play so you can work on practicing keeping maximum pressure on your opponent when they don't castle. By the way, this stuff behind me is called Sunlight, and I do own shirts that don't have words on them. So here we go. E4, C6, Karo Khan, and we still see the knight F3, E4 combo above 2000. So Karo Khan, we played D5. They took the exchange variation. What would you play? Okay, we take back with the pawn. Then they put the pawn on D4, transposing. What would you play? Always knight C6 unless they play the immediate Panov. Now here, my opponent did play C4, so this is like a delayed Panov attack because they do have the knight already on F3. What would you play here? Okay, best move, knight F6. They took. How would you take back? Take back with the knight. They play knight C3. What would you play? Book move E6, defending the knight. They took here, which is an inaccuracy. How would you take back? Okay, I took back with the queen. That is the best move. They put their dart bishop on E3. What would you play here? So I played an okay move. So I know a lot of times in the Panov, you want to play A6 to keep a bishop or a knight out of this B5 square. So I did play A6, which was an okay move. And then white played B3. Ouch. Why is that such a blunder? This is borderline losing for black. It's minus 1.3. Why is that such a big deal? Well, now they have two pawns on light squares, so these dark squares are incredibly weak, right? Okay, so, and their dark square bishop is not really able to help over here on the queen side just yet. Okay, so what would you play here? Well, you just saw the arrow. Bishop to B4 check, right? And so now white is in big, big trouble. So they need to block, so they blocked with the knight. No, sir, that's not correct. Why is that a big deal? Well, they have voluntarily gone into a self-pin. It would have been better for them to block with the bishop, so at least they're not in a pin, right? But man, blocking with that, blocking with the knight there, big, big mistake. It's minus 2.5, already lost. What would you play here as black? Okay, so this was my only inaccuracy of the game. I actually took the pawn, which I'm imagining probably 95% of you guys said. Computer wants to push here, and if they take, we already have this frontal pressure. But I did take the pawn. Inaccuracy. Now, here, they took back. Huge mistake. They're just making matters worse because they're already weak on the dark squares, and what did they just do? They gave up the only piece that can really help out. And you'll notice here as we go through this, the engine wanted to play A3 a couple of times to get rid of this very powerful bishop. And when white exchanges there, this guy is now a huge monster. Yeah, exactly. So, man, this is going to be a lot of pressure. Okay, so they put the rook on C1, best move. All right, how do we keep maximum pressure on white? What would you play here? This is not an easy move to find, so take your time. Okay, checklist. Why did they make that move? Do they want to go here and defend the knight? Possibly. Nope. Middle game strategy number 4. Get rid of your opponent's best piece or one of them. They want to come down here to C4, right, and just threaten the fork. So I play B5. Best move. I'm taking away. No. I'm taking away all of your counterplay. You're not bringing any pieces to this square to try to dislodge our two powerful pieces. Okay, so they played bishop E2, best move. What would you play? Okay, best move, bishop to E7. Now, I care absolutely nothing about that G2 pawn. I had something else in mind. So they played F3 to stop that mess. Okay, what would you play? Yeah, so my idea is middle game strategy number 6, line up a battery, right? So they played rook to C2, now defending laterally. So we got so much pressure here, and we're just suffocating white, never allowing them to castle. Okay, so what would you play here as black? We castle. Best move. Get all the guys into the game. Okay, they play rook to F1. What would you play? Continuing with our battery, right? All best moves. This is kind of funny. Rooks are not meant to be defending laterally like in the first 15 moves of the game. So that's kind of funny. So, yeah, they're kind of going into a turtle shell there. All right, what would you play here as black? Yep, pretty obvious. Get the other rook to D8. Okay, so they play bishop back to F1. What would you play here as black? Yeah, 2 moves here. They're right on top of each other. I played E5. We're coming. We're just full send. The computer wants to go bishop C5 to put pressure here with the battery. My move is minus 5.99. This move is minus 6.09. It's literally the difference of 1/10 of a pawn. So if you said this or this, then fantastic. And then they played queen to C1, kind of getting out of the line of fire here. What would you play? Well, if we push E5, we're going to push E4, right? This guy is pinned. So they don't really have, we're threatening a huge fork here. So they took, what would you play? Okay, yeah, best move, bishop takes. That's another reason we got the bishop to B7. We're hitting the rook. This is just brutal, guys, just brutal. They put the rook on B2. What would you play? Yeah, so computer wanted to go rook to E8. I just saw tactics recognition condition number 1, pieces on the straight line, bishop to A3, and here my opponent resigned. Just brutal, brutal stuff. I mean, but just notice how once they gave up their dark squared bishop here, it was just lights out. You know, there's no help here at all. And just move after move. Look at all these. Best move, best move, best move, best, 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 best. We never let up the pressure. Never let up. Best. Just absolute domination. So the key thing that I hope you take away with that is always look to see how you can add more pieces, get all your pieces into the attack, and never let your opponent breathe there. So hope you guys enjoyed that. See you on the next one.